Is God speaking to you? We know that God spoke to people in the past. He talked to Adam and Eve. He spoke to Solomon in a dream. He talked to Moses from a burning bush. And He talked to the crowd at Jesus' baptism directly from heaven. Does God still talk to people today? Oh, absolutely. Is He talking to you? He's trying to. The real question is, are you listening to God? If God is still talking today, how does He do that? Does He speak in dreams or directly from heaven like He did in the past? Well, thankfully, God has told us exactly how He speaks today. The writer of the book of Hebrews said, God, who at various times and in different ways spoke in time past to the fathers by the prophets, has in these last days spoken to us by His Son. What does that mean, that God has spoken to us by His Son? Is Jesus coming to us as individuals and speaking directly to us? Well, a closer look at the text shows us how this is happening. In Hebrews chapter 2, verses 3 and 4, the text talks about how Jesus' message was first preached through Jesus while He was on earth, then was confirmed to us by those who heard Him. Where do we find Jesus' word that has been confirmed? We find it in the inspired New Testament. Jesus Himself alluded to this fact when He prayed to God. And He said, I do not pray for these alone, but also for those who will believe in Me through their word. You see, for more than 3,500 years, God has preserved His inspired word in the Bible. The Bible provides humanity with all things that pertain to life and to godliness. In fact, so complete is the message that it perfectly equips the man or woman of God for every good work. On one occasion, the Sadducees came to Jesus and they were testing Him with questions about the resurrection. In their minds, they had concocted a situation that Jesus simply couldn't answer. If a woman had had 7 husbands in this life, then they questioned, whose wife would she be in the resurrection? And Jesus, well, He knew their wickedness and their ignorance of Scripture, and He explained that in the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in marriage. He then said to the Sadducees, but concerning the resurrection of the dead, have you not read what was spoken to you by God, saying, I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob? God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. Notice that Jesus was quoting a part of Scripture to the Sadducees that was taken from the book of Exodus. The text was written almost 1,500 years before this group of Sadducees even existed. In the text, God was speaking directly to Moses, and yet Jesus said that God was talking to His first century audience. We must realize that God speaks to us today through His inspired word, just as He spoke to the Sadducees almost 2,000 years ago. Even though our culture may drift far from many of the biblical teachings, those teachings haven't changed, and they won't change. If you want to listen to God speak to you today, read His inspired word, which is able to build you up and give you an inheritance among all those who are sanctified. In the book of Ezra, we read that Ezra, the prophet, had prepared his heart to seek the law of the Lord and to do it and to teach statutes and ordinances in Israel. In the same way, if we're going to impact the world for Christ, we must seek the law of God, practice it in our lives, and then we can successfully teach others that truth.